So here we are back in the engine room with Mr. Ricky Elder. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, you alright?
I'm good, thank you, bud. I'm back.
You are back. I think you were already back, but we just didn't make a big deal of it. So
now I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Didn't really fire him.
Well, not yet.
Yeah. Were you on holiday? Or were you just not here? I can't remember.
I don't know where I was, to be honest. But the good news is I've now plugged the microphone in.
Yeah, we won't tell you that we've done this video once.
This isn't take two.
No, take two of about 40 minutes of my life. At least I don't look like a complete noob now as I go to find a 7/64 Allen key. But hey, it's fine. It's all put together. It's ready to go.
So, talking of this splendid looking device here, tell us more.
So, I saw this on Instagram. This is Ace Race Engines. I saw this. He does a lot of bug engines. So, I don't know what I've said before. Engine builders normally follow engine builders, so I follow quite a few. And he comes up with this contraption in his engine room, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then it turns out, so this is by Brad at QMP Racing, and they're another engine shop which we follow, or I do follow now. And this is called their MC1, or their Measuring Center 1. This is mainly designed to measure pistons, but I get the impression Brad has a quiet life and just likes to keep adding things to it. So like every time I open my Instagram, I'm lead to like, oh, I need to order this now, I need to order this. So this is designed to measure pistons. So the bed moves up and down. We've already set the bed, which I'll run through how we do it. So by this knob, the whole bed moves up and down. So that's how you can set your gauge point on your piston. And then between these two gauges then, we can measure our piston diameter. The reason for this is it's repeatable. So I'll show you why it's to do it manually. So I'll slide this out. So what we would normally do is we take our piston, we would take our data sheet, and we would work it out. So our data sheet says 3.3220 inches, which in funny money means it's 84.379 mil, right? At half-inch gauge point. So the gauge point is the widest part of the piston. A piston is not parallel. Sometimes you can see it more than others, but a piston either looks like this, or where's my pen gone? There it is. It can look more like that with the skirt, your ring lands built into it that way. But essentially, the piston is not parallel, and the reason being is the crown grows more than the skirt because the crown takes combustion heat. So that's why. So our gauge point is very important. Now in the olden days, as in last week before I got this, yep, olden days, we would take our micrometer, what do I want? And we would get half inch, work out our gauge point, and mark our piston. And we do it the same on both sides. Right. So now you know your gauge point, where your gauge point is in your piston. Problem being is now, it's only as accurate as your bloody pen. And you saw how fiddly that was.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, even that's set to half an inch, right? So I don't know if you can see. And then obviously your pen mark's bloody off. So you've always got to take that into account, which you can juggle with. Then you've got mic stand and yeah, we use Mitutoyo kit, and you would sit here like this, trying to get the piston square on one end, yeah, and line up and screw it in to get your piston diameter. And you can see how fiddly that is. So what have we got? 3.65, or should I be 379?
So you've got to do that every time for the amount of pistons you've got, which obviously the V10 is, how many is that? Yeah, 10.
Yeah. Or McLaren would be a V8.
Yep.
So you're constantly juggling. Like, I mean, look there, right? So I've gone 367, right? unscrew it slightly. Bloody 391 427. So you constantly jug it. So the repeatability is a pain in the ass. You get a feel for it, and you sit there, and you can get them. And we have got the cables that go in the side of these, so I can put it straight into performance trend. But it's not repeatable. Now I got to take another one, and I've got to sit there and hold it in my hands. And the unrepeatable bit in engines is the mushy bit. It's never this. It's always the mushy bit. So you do that, and you do that 10 times. So it's worked for, thousands of years in engine building. But it's a ball ache. And when you're trying to then push the boundaries and push your levels and push your repeatability, and you just got to move on to the next level, and this is the next level. So we have got, again, Mitutoyo gauge with a data cable to go to our performance trend software, which is our engine logbook. So every build we do goes into that. Long gone are the days of pen and paper, my dear boy.
Well, it's helping to save the rainforest, one might say.
Yeah, I'm just using nuclear power to charge a lithium battery that's been strip mined out of the Russian countryside, that's built the battery in my laptop. It's perfect.
So then you can tune a 1,000 brake horsepower twin turbo monster.
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually, doesn't put out much.
It's not an electric car though, is it? They're way worse. Don't even get me started. So we use our little gauge blocks to set our height. So again, 0.5 height. So our 0.375 gauge block should sit nicely under our indicator. And the reason it's a 0.375 is it's a 0.25 shaft. So the center line of that shaft then being a 125.
Yep.
Add that to your 375, you get 0.5. So that then sets your table height. I've already set this up anyway, but in theory, 84.379 preset in my gauge. When I push this in and it's in the right point, this gauge should go to 0. So a tiny smidge over. Yeah, so a tiny smidge over. So what we would do there is widest point, come back ever so slightly to get to 0. 84.377. Hit the orange button for cylinder 1, piston 1. Bang. Stored in the value.
Job done.
Now in theory, if I lift that one out, lean over your shoulder, unwrap another one. Same piston, same set, same everything, no marks, nothing. I should be able to push that in and get near as damn it same value.
Ta-da!
Yeah, I mean, alright, if you want to be absolutely pedantic, which I would be. 84.372. Again, hit the orange button, number stored. And that is it. That is it. That is how simple and repeatable that is. Now, Brad's even made a fixture that holds the piston square. So you slide the fixture on a rail, and it holds it square by supporting the underside of the piston pin, so it's absolutely perpendicular to the pin. So again, you remove, because look, I can do, if I put it back on my 0, pressure. So watch now. So what I'm doing is twisting it, and I'm out. I can slide that out with.
Yep.
So it shows you that actually, looking bird's eye view, the skirt is more like this than round. And the problem you get is, if that's your widest point, as you start to turn the piston, look, you can change your pickup points, ultimately change your diameter. So again, this is all about repeatability. And the fact it looks fancy.
And it's even got your name on it, right?
It's got my name on it. I know. So then, moving on to the other little bits and pieces we got with it. That's a 76.2 mil gauge block. So that is how you set your preset for this gauge. So again, you would, well, I'll show you. I wind this in. That should go to 0 at 76.2 if I'm in the right place. We moved it, didn't we?
We did.
So there you go. I could probably play with that. But that's how you then set your gauge. So that's zeroed now. So in theory, if I now wind that back off to 82.379, we know that is absolutely accurate because that's an engineered. That's a sort of an engineered set point.
Yeah.
Which is what all these are as well. They're all by Mitutoyo. Brad supplied everything, and they are. That is actually 6 mil. Perfect. So then I can set my gauges up and I know I'm right. We've got a couple of little tool stands. So this one works hand in hand with this gauge to do piston ring depth. So you can measure, so for example, you can do, if I zero that out, obviously 0, 0, you can go in between the gauge and try to measure your depth. But again, it's a more accurate way of doing it. So that's what that little tool is for. And then these are fixed on the side, so these help you do things like rod length, and if I show you, it would fit onto that one. There, you say you're using a 21 mil pin. You obviously know that's perfectly 21 mil. I set this gauge up as well. But this gauge would then be used, tighten it up, along with this. So you can then measure, you can go, right, okay, well I know my set point is 21 mil, and you can just keep changing your pins and measure all your piston pins. So again, this comes with a data cable as well. So we can import straight into the performance trend software. Can't even get the bloody cover off. So again, like that. So it's just a center for measuring pistons, pins, rod length. Now with his extra little bits, you can do shells. So he's made a fixture to hold a shell. So again, you can measure bearing shell. Because how we measure bearing shells is with this one. So I've got a ball end in it for the rounded edge, but we would measure a shell by doing 1.405 mil thickness. So again, he's made a little fixture to do the same kind of thing, and it just means it's repeatable, and you get the interaction with your software with the button. So yeah, really nice bit of kit. I haven't built an engine using it yet. This is literally as it's come out of the box. If the footage we've done is any good, you'll see me unboxing it, but it's such a nice bit of kit. I think it's just going to make my life so much easier.
It does look really well made. It's proper solid.
It's heavy.
Nice bit of kit.
Yeah, it's heavy. I mean, it's, you know, that is a weighty sort of piece.
Yep.
But yeah, it's lovely quality. Real nice touch, sort of having my name engraved in it. But give them a follow. QMP Racing. Yeah, real nice. I think I'm the first one. I know I was the first metric, and I'm sure I'm the first one in the UK definitely to have this. So I was so excited to get it. Just need to play with it a little bit more, but yeah, the guys who've got theirs that I follow, they're just all over it. So yeah, really exciting addition to the tooling we've got in here. It just gives me that repeatability and the accuracy that you sort of want when you're building engines, and then linked in with the fact that you can export your data straight into your software. I mean, it just makes your life so much easier. You go back a couple of years and we were. So the idea of this tool was to take not necessarily our engine building, but our blueprinting process, which, as a lot of people know, is the recording of information, to take that and the repeatability of our measurements to the next level. So with the performance trend software we use, the engine logbook and all the calculations we do inside that, the gauges we use and how they interface with that software. So literally we haven't got to do anything. We just press a button now and it stores the data in the software, so we haven't got to do anything. Then, like we showed earlier, the repeatability of taking one piston out, I haven't got to touch a gauge, and I can put another piston in and I can get a measurement, and I know then where I am. Adding to then this little gauge, which is on the other side, this will do pin diameters and valve stem diameters, which is why we've gone for all these set gauges. So these are, perfect. If that says 14 mil, that's perfectly 14 mil. So then when I measure, for instance, a valve stem against that gauge, I know where I am and I know what my measurements are. We've obviously got our set gauge for our main piston diameter, and then we can work off that. So that's 76.2 mil. We've got our ring depth gauge, so we can measure the depth that the rings sit into the piston, because again, that's a measurement we take, and it's all repeatable. I can lift the piston in, I can use my gauge, and I haven't got to mess around or, like you saw earlier, juggle with gauges or anything like that. So it just makes my life a lot easier. I think it just looks cool.
It sure does.
So it's what everyone likes. I'm a tool geek anyway, so.
Well, talking of the geek side of things, we were having a chat earlier about more content for the channel.
Yes.
And we seem to be of the opinion that the engine techie stuff goes down really well.
Yeah, I think so. It's probably stuff I like doing more, but I'm wondering whether a nice mix is healthy or whether people prefer this stuff, because I'm not on the hunt for it, but it seems that the growth of the YouTube channel kind of stopped as we've gone more car based, and even though we've done pistas and stuff, we haven't kind of had the viewing numbers we got off, say, what did you say the McLaren engine stuff was up to?
It was over 30,000.
Right, okay. And that's purely organic. We haven't even sort of put money behind that.
Yeah.
So it's, I had a guy put on Facebook the other day a bloody whole list of things he wanted me to, do videos on. So, and some of it's unrealistic. Some of it we're not going to do because I don't give away the keys to the city. We've worked a lot of stuff out the hard way, and I'm not telling other shops how to do it.
Yeah.
They can go and bolt stuff onto their own cars and figure it out themselves like we did, but we're the only ones selling turbo kits in the UK. So, and they're ours. It's all in-house, Motex, and then engines. This gearboxes, Dodson dealers. We can get gear kits, the clutches. It's done in-house. We don't outsource it. We don't use anything else. We don't get instruction manuals, download it off websites for kit builders, or we do it. It's here, and I have complete control over it, from the car coming in, the engine being built, gearbox being built, the fabrication on the back of it, the calibration on the dyno, to you having the car back. Everyone will see on social at the minute, Matt Armstrong had a problem with his twin turbo Lambo. We fixed it, and it's nothing to do with what he's done to the car. It could have happened to a Vauxhall Corsa driving down a road to Tesco's when he announces what it is. It was a £100 part that failed, and it shut the car down. Bang. James drove down to meet him off the ferry, picked the car up, brought the car here. He's got my R8, so we got them back home because they had to get back for the dog. It wasn't anything to do with what we touched on the car, but that's what we do. That's the level we work to. That's the level I want to work to. I want completely repeatable, 3 decimal places, no cock-ups, and that's what will set us apart from everyone else. So.
Cool. So I guess all that's left to do is
like, comment, subscribe. My kids watched the video the other day, and my 9-year-old Jack just went, "Dad, that is so cringe." But it seems like no one does it unless you say it.
Yeah.
Press the button. Let us know what you want to see. But yeah, I'm not going to sit there and do a video on what numbers I put in Motec tuning. That's not happening. What ignition do you run at 8,000 RPM at a bar of boost?
Yes.
Nope. So smash that subscribe button.
Yep.
And let us know what you like and whether we're both a pair of absolute
beep beep.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, buddy.
See you later.
Till the next time.